Next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, presented by the Cincinnati Business Courier, what makes some places the best place to work? We'll tell you what you are telling us. John Cranley takes over as mayor of Cincinnati in 2 weeks, but he's already making decisions and defining his style. And Xavier President Michael Graham talks about what's happening at Cincinnati's Jesuit University in addition to basketball. U.S. Bank Business Watch is next. Good morning. Welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Brian Patrick. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, does your company offer massages, sponsor happy hours, give you time off to volunteer? Those are just some of the characteristics of the best places to work in Cincinnati. This week's issue is our annual homage to local companies that score highest in employee satisfaction. The word that comes up a lot among this year's nominees of best places to work is balance. Many of the companies nominated are helping bridge home, community, and work demands in very creative ways. The founder of Seek, one of our nominated companies, is a market research company. The company's goal is to get to the core of the human experience, not just Seek's clients, but also its employees.
Created a culture here where if we're not failing at some things, that means we're not taking enough risk. So we encourage that within our people.
Well, when anybody's asked why this is a great place to work at, I'm sure people say it's the culture and the vision, and it's fun and energy and exciting. Well, at Seek, all of those things are true. They're enthusiastic about their work, they push for excellence and growth, and they make it a fun place to work at.
That looks fun. Be sure to check out our print edition for details of the companies that were nominated, and go to our website to find all the winners in a variety of categories. Then you decide how your workplace stacks up. Well, Saks Fifth Avenue will leave downtown Cincinnati, opening a new store at the Kenwood Collection. Saks is now located here at 5th and Race. As the Business Courier reported in September, developer Phillips Edison, the owner of Kenwood Collection, has been working to land the upscale department store as the anchor for the retail portion of that long-stalled mixed-use project. The new store is scheduled to open in the spring of 2016 on 2 levels of the building that overlooks I-71.
They're committing, to do an 80,000 square foot full-line department store here. That's not an Fifth, that's not an outlet store, that's a full-line department store, which is a significant investment on their part.
Now the question becomes, what happens with the plans for a downtown retail corridor? In particular, what should the city do with the Saks space? Coming up later in our program, we'll talk with the city's retail leasing consultant about the impact of the Saks move and who is already showing interest in that site. Well, Mayor-elect John Cranley doesn't take office for 2 weeks, but he is already making it very clear he is in charge. In a hastily called news conference last week, Cranley announced that the city manager, Milton Dohoney, will resign and receive 1 year of severance pay. That came just hours after the Business Courier was the first to report that Cranley had indicated to Dohoney that he could resign or face dismissal when Cranley and the new city council take office December 1st. Cranley denied that he told Dohoney he had a choice between resignation or dismissal, but 3 sources with knowledge of the situation told the Courier otherwise, and Cranley did not deny the story when he was contacted for comment about it.
I think it's not surprising that a new mayor with a mandate on some big issues that he's been working on in a different direction, we should probably go, with a clean and fresh start.
Cranley said the year of severance pay is dictated by a city ordinance that was passed when Dohoney was hired, specifying that they receive 1 year of pay if he is fired without cause. Now, Cranley also took steps last week to kill the Cincinnati's controversial deal to privatize parking. Cranley and 7 incoming city council members asked the Port of Greater Cincinnati Development Authority not to sell bonds to finance the deal before they take office.
We have delayed the issuance of the bonds out of respect for this group until they assume their official positions next month.
Members of the Port of Authority board indicated it was clear that Cranley and the next city council are not going to uphold the lease, which was approved by the current mayor and council. Cranley also said last week he would seek to block supporters of the streetcar from holding a referendum if he and the incoming city council members pass an ordinance canceling the streetcar project. Hundreds of people gathered at 2 streetcar rallies last week, including this one at 15th and Race, voicing their support for the Cincinnati streetcar. Construction of the project is already underway on Elm Street outside Music Hall. Voters defeated amendments to the city charter that would have stopped the streetcar project in 2009 and 2011. Cranley did say that he and those who want to kill the project are looking for another way to allow a third public vote on the project if supporters can gather the needed signatures. Oh, what a difference a week makes when you're the mayor-elect. Local political expert and Xavier University professor Gene Beaupre was with us last week. He joins us again this week to talk about the actions Cranley has taken in this past week, 2 weeks before he officially becomes the mayor of Cincinnati. Gene is in the studio with Business Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer. Gene and Rob.
Right, thanks, Gene. Thanks for being here again. Maybe we'll have you in every week now.
That'd be fine.
Seems like that could happen. Big week for John Cranley. He's not in office yet, but he's gone full force with the issues that he ran on. Right. Plus, he got the city manager to resign. Did you expect this, and what should we expect when he actually becomes mayor?
Well, first, I think it's important that we note that he is very different from the current mayor. So, you know, Mark Mallory has been a different kind of mayor. He worked a lot behind the scenes. I don't think he called press conferences unless it was absolutely necessary. And Mr. Cranley is kind of a walking press conference. You know, every place he goes, the media is following him now. And as mayor-elect, you're right, he has no statutory authority, but he's speaking a lot about, you know, what he wants to do. I think he's in a sweet spot. You know, he doesn't have to take any responsibility for anything that's happened in the past. He has a council-elect that has yet to have the benefit of his distribution of the resources there. But, you know, eventually a mayor doesn't vote in council and needs 5 votes to get anything passed. So to have a bully pulpit is probably the biggest power that the mayor has, and he's using it well.
Is there any downside for him once he does take office and being as aggressive, I guess is the best word, being aggressive as he has been?
I think he gets, anyone that goes in there gets a honeymoon. So I think it would be a long time before that would occur. And he's very adept at placing the blame where he thinks it should be when something doesn't go right.
Do you think that the council members who have said that they're behind him regarding the streetcar and regarding the other things, right. I mean, is this coalition or whatever you want to call it, is that solid? Any expectation that they may go off and, because they have everybody has their own agenda here. They're not just going to march down the street with the mayor every time.
That's very true. And in fact, in this last election, partisan politics had much less to do with it. So that it won't be like the Democratic vote and the Republican vote and the Charter-Right vote and that sort of thing. And so I think coalitions will be formed issue by issue, and that will take a lot of ability on everybody's part, but certainly the mayor as well.
Well, Gene, thanks for being here, and I have a weird feeling we'll be asking to come back soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian?
All right, Rob, Gene, thank you. The auditor for the state of Kentucky will conduct a special investigation of the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport Board. His announcement comes amid questions about the board's travel and spending. Is it appropriate for a member of the airport board to travel to Italy for a conference? And while there, how much is appropriate for that person to spend on food and drink? That's the question Auditor Adam Edelin will try to answer when he and his staff look at the books of the airport board.
Excessive travel and spending is an all too common theme in the course of our investigations. Despite the repetitive nature of our findings, we continue to see public officials justify wasting public money. Taxpayers are tired of it, and frankly, I'm tired of it.
Well, the airport board owns and operates the International Airport in Boone County. Xavier University President Father Michael Graham shared some thoughts with us this week on a variety of topics, including dealing with the challenges of today's higher education climate. He told our reporter Andy Brownfield that the pace of change in higher education has increased dramatically over just the past couple of years. Father Graham says Xavier is always working to align expenses in a way that prioritizes the student experience and clearly defines what Xavier offers that online and for-profit educational institutions do not.
There are 2 things that really excite me about this coming year. The first is doing a better job of delivering on our mission for our students, that Xavier students become people of learning and reflection, integrity and achievement, in solidarity for and with others, very consonant with the whole Jesuit Catholic ideal. The second is a home game against Georgetown.
Xavier, now part of the Big East Basketball Conference, will play fellow Jesuit University Georgetown at the Cintas Center January 15th. That is going to be a matchup. Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, the insurance business needs workers, and the University of Cincinnati is preparing to train them. And new hope at Cincinnati Children's for saving their tiniest patients. Here's some news you may have missed if you're not reading the Business Courier online every day or following us on Twitter and Facebook. The University of Cincinnati is teaming up with the state of Ohio to help fill an estimated 17,000 empty insurance jobs over the next 5 years. UC and state leaders joined Great American Insurance Company to announce the opening of the Carl H. Lindner III Center for Insurance and Risk Management. The university will offer a new major and minor in insurance and risk management. A $3.2 million grant from Bethesda, Inc. will help Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center fund a program to dramatically reduce premature births. The program seeks to transform how pregnant women and infants receive health care and will also create a support network to encourage healthy behaviors that lower the risk of prematurity. Officials say the need is urgent, citing an infant mortality rate in Hamilton County that is more than 60% higher than the national average. Kroger is getting some recognition for its wine selection. The Cincinnati-based retailer has been named the 2013 Retailer of the Year by Wine Enthusiast magazine. Kroger is being recognized for its dynamic growth and dedication to customer service when it comes to wine sales. Kroger also sells wine from local vineyards. Where do you go for a special occasion dinner? Online restaurant reservation provider Open Table has issued the top 10 local special occasion restaurants. Topping the list, Carlo and Johnny, followed by Jagg's Steak and Seafood, Orchids at Palm Court, The Palace at the Cincinnatian Hotel, and the Melting Pot in Dayton. For the full list, visit our website. Well, the time for special dinners and giving thanks is drawing near. We at U.S. Bank Business Watch believe it's very important to recognize the people who make Cincinnati such a wonderful place to live and to do business. In this morning's U.S. Bank Economic 360, our very own Jim Russell, U.S. Bank Senior Equity Strategist, is joined by two people who make a really big difference. Steve Mullen, U.S. Bank Senior Vice President and local market leader, and Pam Green, President and CEO of Easter Seals. Jim?
Brian, thanks very much. Pam, Steve, thanks for joining us today. We're going to get updated a little bit on exactly what is going on with a couple of different initiatives at these organizations. Pam, you're the President and CEO of Easter Seals in Tri-State. Can you give us a little bit of a feel for what's going on in 2013 with your organization?
Sure. So 2013 has been a great year for Easter Seals Tri-State. We just completed our combination with Jewish Vocational Service, and we've launched a lot of new initiatives to help the people that we serve to more fully live, learn, work, and play in our community, including our Veterans Initiative, a Youth Build Grant. Building Value has done a great deal of work in our community to salvage materials from the landfill. And we're delighted that we were just named the Torch Award winner for the Better Business Bureau for Marketplace Ethics.
Well, congratulations. That's great news.
So it's been a good year.
Now, you touched upon something a minute ago regarding veterans and maybe a hiring initiative. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Sure. So about a year ago, Easter Seals Tri-State, in combination with the Caroline and Ralph V. Hale Foundation at U.S. Bank and the Farmer Family Foundation, we recognized a need in our community to really have a concerted effort around hiring of veterans. And so we've put together a community collaborative that we have over 100 nonprofits that have participated. We meet quarterly to talk about what are the issues veterans are facing and how can we as a network of providers best meet that. So for a veteran to succeed in employment, they need to take advantage of their education benefits. They need stable housing. They need health and family supports. And so we have target areas that we're focusing on. Just in the past 2 months, we've helped 41 veterans connect to employment.
Fantastic.
It's just going really well.
Yeah, that's great news. Steve, I think at U.S. Bank there's also an initiative underway. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Sure, Jim. 5 years ago, we started the Proud to Serve initiative, and really we started out with the idea of saying thank you and recognizing our veterans and military families. Second thing was to make sure we had world-class HR benefits for all those families and service members. Third was an employment or a talent acquisition strategy, and then fourth was community service. So we're 5 years into this and think we're making some progress.
A nationwide effort, correct?
Correctly, yeah. It's 50 states.
Now, a little birdie's told me recently that there was maybe even a ceremony to recognize some of the work that's been done on a national basis. Can you speak to that a little bit, please?
Correct. About a month ago, U.S. Bank was one of 15 winners of the Secretary of Defense Freedom Award. It was a great experience. 2,900 companies were nominated, and U.S. Bank came out as one of the winners in the 5 large corporate winners. So really a great testimony to the progress we're making.
So can you tell us a little bit, is there an objective regarding some of the hiring plans?
Yes, we just surpassed our goal this year of 1,100 new vets. We have a little bit over 2,000 vets that currently work for U.S. Bank. It's a major initiative for us, and working with Easter Seals, we hope to continue that progress here in Cincinnati.
Well, that is great news. Pam, Steve, thanks for doing all that you do to make this a great place to live.
Thank you.
Brian, back to you.
All right, Jim, Steve, and Pam, thank you. Still to come on U.S. Bank Business Watch, Saks is heading to Kenwood. So what's next for the future of this downtown site? And congratulations to Kenyatta Smith, another of our 40 Under 40 honorees. Smith is a firefighter with the Cincinnati Fire Department and Executive Vice President of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. It is time now for this morning's Business Insight. We told you earlier the effort to keep Saks downtown has failed. The department store is moving to Kenwood. Despite the bad news for downtown, some are praising the approach the city took in its effort to keep Saks at 5th and Race. Instead of a one-time infusion of money, something that was done in the past, the city came together with property owners and developers and created a vision for a revitalized retail district. Saks is expected to move by the end of 2015. So what happens to the plan and the space when that happens? Kathleen Norris, managing principal of the Urban Fast Forward and the City of Cincinnati's retail leasing consultant, joins U.S. Bank Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio with some perspective. Kelly and Kathleen.
Thank you, Brian. Kathleen, it's so great to have you here.
Nice to be with you, Kelly.
We go way back.
Back to the Kelly and Kathleen show.
Here we are again. So, to the question, what will happen with the space? Let's just start. I mean, obviously we don't know yet, but give me your reaction when you heard the news that they were moving.
Well, we would have liked to keep Saks downtown, and I personally believe they made the wrong decision. But hey, it's their decision to make, and we always said there were 3 options. Saks could stay, Saks could leave and we would put something else in the existing property, or Saks could leave and we would have the strongest development site in the city of Cincinnati's inventory. So we still are down to options 2 and 3.
So what are the next steps?
I think the first thing for everybody to remember is that Saks remains in place for the next 26 months. So we have plenty of time for the next steps. We have an incoming mayor, we have an incoming city council, we have a new city manager. I think they're probably going to want a minute to catch their breath and get their feet under them, and we've got time for that.
And we have Dunnhumby going in across the street. How does that factor in?
Oh, Dunnhumby's going to be such an asset in that corridor. And really, we talk about the Race Street retail corridor partly because of Dunnhumby. They're adding 35,000 square feet of new retail space right there. We have Macy's right there. We have the Terrace Hilton being revitalized, and that's got retail spaces that'll come back online. We have Tower Place Garage coming into line fully as a garage with limited retail right on the Race Street side, and we have new retail going into the 4th and Race corner with the Flaherty and Collins development there. So that is our market corridor for retail.
And the Business Courier reported late last week that Flaherty and Collins may be interested in that space. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, you know, we always said it would be a great development corner, and Flaherty and Collins, the very next day after Saks made their decision, put their hand up and said, we'd like to do that development. So I think that proves us right.
You know, we have a tendency, I think, in this city to, oh my God, the sky is falling. Say the Saks is, how do we keep ahead of this and keep rolling forward instead of doom and gloom, you know, let's talk about the negative. How do we keep moving ahead?
Race Street is moving ahead so aggressively Dunnhumby, a new tower above Macy's, the Macy's store, a new tower at 4th and Race, the revitalization of the Tower Place parking situation, the Terrace Hilton going into new ownership that really wants to bring that back online, great ownership up in the northern block between 6th and 7th. Ray Street is booming.
And you deal with these commercial tenants that are looking for space. What are you hearing from them? What do they want? What is attractive to them about that area?
80,000 people working downtown, an influx of new downtown residents, a tremendous new vitality in that corridor, Fountain Square and the wonderful work that 3CDC has done there, and a downtown that many cities our size would envy.
Yeah, and people don't get that, do they? That a city our size with a downtown as vibrant as it is.
We have retail downtown that exceeds other cities our size now. We still have a downtown Macy's store. And of course, Macy's is one of our great hometown companies. But just to have a downtown Macy's store right across the street from a hotel, right down the block from a convention center, that's a huge asset.
Oh, yeah. Well, what are the other assets that people are drawn to downtown?
Convention center, Fountain Square, which is programmed pretty much round the clock these days. Everybody's coming to downtown. Great dining scene, restaurants at all levels now, increasing downtown residential base. And again, Cincinnati has all those great corporations which are headquartered in our downtown.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep the faith and keep it moving forward.
It is going to move forward.
Thank you so much for being here, Kathleen.
My pleasure.
Brian, back to you.
All right, Kelly and Kathleen, thank you. And thank you for joining us this morning for U.S. Bank Business Watch. We'll be back next Sunday and each Sunday morning at 6:30 in the morning here on Local 12. If you sleep in, catch us at 10 a.m. on the CW. For more business news all during the week, visit the Business Courier online. You can sign up for our daily emails and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Our address is CincinnatiBusinessCourier.com. I'm Brian Patrick. Remember, Bengals play the Browns at 1 today. You see it right here this afternoon on Local 12. Go Bengals. Have a great Sunday and a good week.